So one of the things I did recently is I picked up a new Canon DSLR 200D or the SL2 camera, so I can start getting some better footage for the content that I'm shooting for my channel. And it seems to be working out well so far. One of the things I still struggle with is lighting in my garage because it's not overly well lit. I mean, I've got 3 sets of fluorescents and I've got 1 pot light above where the garage door opens because the fluorescent light fixture wouldn't fit there. So what I'm doing on this one is a bit different than usual. It's not going to be any small engine tinkering or metal fabrication. What I'm actually doing is I'm going to be building a couple, I guess, lighting soft boxes for me to use when we're shooting video here in the garage. So I'll quickly show you what we got in the box here, and then we'll talk about how we're going to put these together. So here's what we got in the box. I've got a few pieces of this 20 by 30 project foam board. So that's what we're going to be building our light fixture boxes from. I've got 2 rolls of these 300 LED strip daylight LEDs that are dimmable. I've got about 60 square feet of I guess like the softbox, the light diffusing material that you would put over the opening on a softbox that would then diffuse the light that's coming out of it. And then finally, I just got a 2-pack of these Amazon Basics tripods. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a couple boxes that we mount on top of our tripods for lighting the scenes that we're shooting footage for. So here are the couple options regarding the boxes I'm going to build. The boxes I may build, and I'm probably leaning toward this one here. So we've got the first one we did with the full 20 by 30. It ends up being, I think it's 25 units wide, 10 units tall. So that gives us an area of 250 square units. And then this one I made out of a 20 by 20 piece. So if we cut 10 inches off one of our pieces of foam board, we essentially have a 16 by 16, which is 256, so it's a bit more surface area here, and it's not as deep. It's about 4 units deep versus 5.5 units deep on this one. So I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll build my first one as a square one like this. So then this would sit on the tripod. Pretend this is a tripod, sort of like that, and then your light would come this way. So I'm going to go ahead and cut up one of the pieces of project board. We'll get it put into this shape, and then we'll go ahead and start getting some lights and whatnot into it. So here's a piece of our project foam board cut down to 20 by 20. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure in 2 inches. Let's do it over here. 2 inches and 4 inches. From there we'll mark our sections that we're going to cut out. Cut those out, make cuts on the back so we can fold in and get this taped up. Ladies and gentlemen. So there we have ourselves a soft box. It is 16 by 16, giving us a total square area of light, once this is filled with LEDs and whatnot, of 256 square inches. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead, duck away for a second, get the rest of these seams taped up so they're strong, and then we should be ready to put some LEDs in this and see how it looks. So there's our box taped up. I got the outside edges all taped with tuck tape. And on the inside, I actually managed to find some tin tape in my garage. I don't know, it was old muffler tape I had there or something. But anyways, it's a bit reflective, so I figured I'd cover those some wide open inside corners with those. So at this point, now what we're going to do is we're going to look at how, one, we're going to mount this to the top of a tripod, and then two, how we want to organize our lights inside. We've got our tripod mounts here. So the thread on this is 1/4 20 thread per inch. So we want somehow to mount this onto the bottom of this. So it would be great if it was, you know, a few inches down below. So if this was here, some kind of stick or something that we screw this into that's permanently mounted to the bottom of our box. And that way we can just take this whole assembly and then clip it in to the top of the tripod. So I'm going to look around, see if there's a bit of wood or a bit of old steel or something there that I can make a little mount out of, and I'll bring you guys back and we'll have a look at what we settled on. So at this point, I've just taken a simple piece of 2x2. I made sure that one side is cut square and the other side was cut to match the angle of the bottom of our light box. So now we can see I can mount this to the bottom of the light box like so. So from the inside, what I'll probably do is I'll probably, with this somewhere on the, toward the back, on the bottom, like so, potentially even all the way back. I can then have a couple pieces of shim like this on the inside. And I can use those to screw in through and mount this to the bottom, or get that mounted to the piece of 2x2 down bottom. So then what I can do here is drill a very small hole, just say a bit smaller than a 1/4 20 nut, bang the 1/4 20 nut into there, and I can use that to screw the mount on. So we're going to drive that nut in there and test it out first, then we'll get it mounted to the box. So here we have our 1/4 20 nut pressed into the bottom of this. Not dead center now, but I don't think it's going to make a whole lick of difference to us. So now if I go ahead and take my tripod mount, I should be able to screw that into that nut like so. That straighten out a certain amount. And like I said, now the hole really matters, so we can adjust that. So now I see it's a nice solid fixture now. So with the light then mounted to that, we can then put that right into the top of the tripod. So I'll get this mounted to the box, and we'll go ahead and we'll put that on the tripod and see how it looks. So I went ahead and got some holes drilled through both the shims that are going to be on the inside, and so you can see where they're poking it. They'll fit right into those holes on the mount that's going to be connected on the bottom. So at this point, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this on the inside and just press it against, so I can mark where my holes are going to be, and then I can go ahead and attach this stuff, and we should be good to get that mounted to a tripod and see how it looks. Ladies and gentlemen. So there we have our tripod. We've got our tripod mount now mounted to the bottom of our light box. So with our light box on, we can mount this to our tripod, and then we have our fully adjustable light box. So if we're working in close, we can get something down low like this, with our camera from the other side so things are well lit. Up like this if we're looking at shooting more of like a face shot or something, if we're standing closer to the source. So now that this is mounted up, what I want to do next is get a hole poked into the bottom of the light box here. That's where we'll run the power cable from the AC adapter for the lights in, and then we'll also then look at putting the lights all around the inside of the box here. So let's take a look at that. So I'm pretty confident that I want to mount my switch on the back of my little stand here, and that'll be nice and neat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and poke the hole to run this string of lights, this rat's nest of lights, probably in through the bottom on this side, and then I can start going around and around and around inside this, getting all the lights used up on the inside surface of the box. So with the switch placed here, this is going to get power from the power side, which is right here, and then the light itself will go in. So I'll poke a hole probably about right here to run those lights in there. Not the neatest, but good enough for the girls I go with. So I went ahead and pulled the adhesive backing off of the switch here and got that stuck onto the wood. It seems to be stuck relatively good. I can lift the box up with it. If we run into issues in the future, I could always just, you know, whop a zip tie over it, and that should be good. So now that the lights are inside and our power plug is outside, we'll flip this over and we'll start getting these lights fixed inside the box. So there we go. After that about 10-minute process, we've got all our 300 LEDs affixed to the inside of our light box. So now I'm just going to put this on the stand, plug it in, and just see what the light cover looks like. And then we'll look at cutting a piece of our diffused light material to put over the outside of this, and then we can test it out and see how it works. So we've got a situation now where we've got the tripod with the mount we made up and the box all together. I've got it plugged into my handy dandy ceiling plug-in. So now I should be good to flick this on and see what kind of light it projects. Now keep in mind, we'll have the diffusing material put on this after we check this out. This is just an initial test. I want to check it out and see how it goes. So if I say look at the garage door here, so we flick the viewfinder around so I can see what it's like. And we've got dimmable. So this is what it's like in here with the light on very low, and then with the light turned all the way up, off, and on. So we should be able to get some decent daylight-like light out of this box. So now I'm going to go ahead and get some of that diffuse material cut off so we can get that put over the front of the box and see what kind of results we can finally get. So originally my thought was that I was going to use like thumbtacks or something, like a couple along each edge to hold the cloth tight in place. But I think for the time being, I'm just going to go ahead with a bit of duct tape. So I'll put like 3 pieces of duct tape along each edge just to hold this stuff in place. The duct tape will come off the foam board relatively easily. You shouldn't tear it off like the tuck tape would. So I'll go ahead and we'll get this just tidied up and we'll have a look and see how it works.
Ladies and gentlemen.
So here we go, we've got a random scene, you know, random stuff, carb, water bottle, some duct tape, a clear ruler, you know, broom stuff. So this is what it looks like. I've got my camera with all the auto settings on, so this will do auto white balance and stuff. So this is what it looks like without some backlight from a diffuse source. Now if I flick on the new light, we should see once the auto white balance kicks in, things should look a lot more crisp. If I go ahead and just zoom in on carburetor, see a nice well lit scene is really providing us some quality video here. So that's going to be it for this one. I want to thank you guys for following along with me on this I guess softbox diffuse light build for videography type stuff. I know it's a bit of a departure from the usual stuff we do on the channel here, but I figured I'd document it anyways. As you know, like anything DIY, I try to make sure I do stuff and try to get it done on the cheap, and this cost me probably a couple $100 less than it would have to actually go and buy a light. So from here forward, you guys can look forward to more motorcycle restoration related content, because we're now going to start focusing on the C70. So here we go, we've got our Super Cub C70, parts 1 and 2 are in the books. All our parts are here on the shelf, ready and raring to be restored, refurbished, rebuilt, whatever you want to call it. So once again, I want to thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.